have John Vincent to speak to us tonight. He's going to run against Russell Fry. We're so happy to have some choices here. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking. I want him to come up and tell us about himself. So come on up, John.
Would that be now, please?
Yes, now.
First of all, I just want to thank everyone here, and I really appreciate the opportunity to come. I can tell you I'm much more looking forward to your questions and our interaction than listening to myself speak again. But I will give an intro for those that may not be overly familiar with me. Again, John Gregory Vincent. I am running for South Carolina District 7 Congress. I am a retired Navy Command Master Chief. I am a small business owner. I am a... It has a lot of fun in it. On the back of my flyers, which I did not bring, it literally says, if you've ever had to figure out how you were going to make payroll, you know what I'm talking about. I am a Christian, I am a father, and I am a husband to a woman that is so much better than I am, who is in the back. Dad, stand up, please. By the time I'm done talking, you're going to go, oh my God, blessings to that woman. I spent over 2,000 days underneath the ocean, 2,000 days underneath the ocean in the nasty, dangerous world of submarines. And I did that. My service was fairly straight up and simple. It was to support and defend the Constitution. It was Cold War time, and it was support and defend the Constitution. For those of you that have served, or you have a family member that served, the oath of enlistment, or when you re-enlist, starts off, I swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That's not happening now. And I have been a student of the Constitution for 20 years, so I know enough about it that's sort of next level to know what's going on is... Anyway. I also was there in service to support and defend just regular folks. I came from a working class family. My dad was a school teacher, and he eventually wound up being an assistant superintendent of schools out of Long Island in New York, where I grew up. Just working folks. And it just seemed natural, right? I mean, if you read the Constitution, if you understand the Constitution was written for the working class people and those, the least among us, those in the most need. That's who it was written for. If you read the Constitution with those folks in mind, many of you here, then it makes a lot more sense. That's what it's written for. So those are the people, therefore, every time you hear the Constitution's being violated, think the working class, think of most in need, because they will always suffer the most when you have a constitutional violation. So the working class folks, the folks that are most in need, are the ones that are under the most severe attack. You cannot point to one thing that has happened since January 20th that benefits the working class or those most in need. Not one. That's going to get worse. Some other things you should know about me, because it'll come out when I start scaring that guy. So I'll just tell you now, it's actually on my policy page on the website. I am a recovering alcoholic. I've been sober for 22 years by the grace of God. I have suffered my entire adult life with severe ADHD. Yes, I see a therapist, and thank God for her. So when that comes up from my opponent, I'll go, really, dude? It's literally on my website. There are no other skeletons in my closet. Feel free to Google John Gregory Vincent. Deb and I, our company, we're in the business of sometimes having to go in and actually work on efficiency in organizations and actually lean organizations. So imagine the pain we're in watching this show go on. I never said a bad word again. And you will not find an adverse word after doing this for nearly 20 years. Not one adverse comment or word on the internet. All right? And we're proud of that. We're proud of that ethics, and we're proud of that dedication. I'll tell you one more thing, given what's going on with public education. I have 4 brothers and sisters. All of us K through 12 public schools. And among us, we have 5 master's degrees, a doctorate in theology, and my brother has a doctorate in nuclear physics from Yale. But I got an MBA from University of Arkansas, so, you know, close second place there. So what is this about? This is about actually being a representative. As I said before, I'm a small business owner. I don't want to be a politician. You know, I'm not old enough to have another 30-year career. I just think of what's going on here is completely unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. And we all need to do what we can do. My talent is this. It's talking to people. It's understanding people. You may not, you know, whether you love what I say or not, what I say is what I mean. I'm not going to run if there is a primary challenger. There was one. He dropped out. He's now joined the campaign, and he's been a great resource. But I'm not going to zig over here, and then if I win a primary, zig. I am who I am. I'm a centrist Democrat. That's it. If you don't know what that is, think Bill Clinton. I'm kind of a Bill Clinton type of Democrat. You're either not old enough or you don't like that. Which is fine. So here's how things work. When I say a warrior advocate, I'm thinking of those veterans, right? I'm thinking of those working class. I'm thinking of those folks most in need. I don't know who's representing them. This is not a wealthy district. Median income in this district, median household is 1/3 below the national average. It's 55 grand. 26% of the people that live in this district, children in this district, live in poverty. 26%. Most of our schools are Title I schools. Over 100,000 people get Medicaid benefits. You don't have to be a student to look at what's going on. They're under attack. 90% of this district is in one of those categories. They're either working class, middle class, or their socioeconomic is even lower than that. So who's getting killed here? They are, more so than many other districts. And that's why we decided this is something we have to do. So what are we going to do when we go to D.C.? We're going to do a crazy thing. We're going to represent the district, the entire district, because that is what's constitutionally required. I don't get to pick and choose and go, you know what? If you were a large donor, or you just voted for me, you're on the good side, and I'll leave other people screw you. No, it's not how it works. You have to represent the entire district. This is how we're going to do it. I said this in a town hall last week. Somebody asked me a very specific question about something going on in Marion. And I think the answer somewhat stunned them. I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. But you do. What we're going to do here is we're going to set up local, crazy idea, right? Mayors, county chairs, yes, Democrat and Republican, mayors, county chairs, they will have a dedicated phone number. So they can call, not go to some stupid voicemail, actually talk to a human being, and then my job is to have the staff pull together, wow, there are like 50% of our community centers that are just horrible. And then hopefully somebody can help me find grant money. That's how we're going to do things. I'm not going to pretend to know everything. This is how we run our companies. This is how we help our clients. It's bottom up. Trickle down has never worked. Never. But here's something that does. Trickle up. When the middle class do better, everybody does better. When those most in need feel like they got a shot, everybody does better. So bottom up. That's how you represent a district. So, what do I need from you? Here's what I need from you. We are not going to run a standard campaign. You can see we post videos. It's how we built our company, basically, at social media. You will see videos. Sometimes I look nice because that makes me. Sometimes not so much because I got up in the morning and I just had to speak. And I don't know, I look like Fetterman on a bad day, but that's okay. I let people know thoughts, and that's very, very important to see the real thing, what's really going on. I said to a strategist a couple of weeks ago that had, this great idea. We launched 2 weeks and 2 days ago. So people talk about grassroots. This isn't grassroots, we're seedlings. We gotta grow some to get the grass. But what I told this person, and this sounds arrogant, but again, this isn't from a political view, this is just from somebody who's, just been around a little bit. What's been happening in this district, and I'm going to go into numbers here in a minute, and I'm going to shut up and take questions and whatever else you want to throw at me. Not literally, just kind of politely. What's happened in this district is there's never been, district's been here since 2012 when they redistricted and added a district here. There's never been a Democrat. I don't think a Democrat for Congress has ever gotten within 25 or 30 points. There's a reason for that, and it's not a bad reason, it's just we haven't had the pieces in place. We haven't had the pieces in place, and we haven't had the environment in place to do this. And what I told that organizer is, all I know is that old strategy from the 70s and 80s that everybody's still preaching about hasn't worked too well here, has it? So we're going to do something different. And here's where I need you. We're going to run this campaign with what I call advocates. What that means is, 10 people. You've got 15 very good friends. 30 people. If you believe I am the best choice, then you tell people they are never going to trust me as much as they trust you. I'm some guy that goes to the barbecue, and I go, hi, how are you? But I can't live with those people. But you do. If we have advocates, we can run a very low-cost campaign, which we have to. He's got $500,000 in the bank. Because he doesn't have to spend it. He just doesn't have to spend it. He's going to have to spend it this time. Start laughing when you see trash commercials about me and what a drunk I am. That's when you know he's scared. So we have to run a very efficient campaign. The best way to do that is to have advocates in every one of the 8 counties in every town going, hey, have you checked this guy out? He's got an event coming up. He's going to be at the rodeo. Just check him out. It's a pretty interesting fellow. That's how you win. Here's the math on that. There's 100 people here. If each one of you, and I'm talking over and over, we got 19 months here. So they're going to be sick of you. Sales, 7 to 10 touches. The touches, in a non-creepy way, are you. You're the touches. Over and over and over again. Not just for getting people registered, to get them to the polls. Remember the good old days when we used to have church buses take people to the polls? Remember when we used to say, hey, I'm going, I got a minivan here with 6? We're doing that. We're doing that. That's one of the few old school things we're going to do because it worked really well. And they're not going to be creeped out for you because you've been annoying them for 19 months about this guy named Vincent. That's how you do this. When 100 people tell 10 people and they're on board, you have 1,000. Another 10, you have 10,000. Another 10, you have 100,000. And those people will vote. Here's the numbers. Midterms 2022, general election 2024. 40,000 fewer voters for the Democrat in the midterm. 40,000. My opponent won by 100,000. His numbers will drop because he got those votes, a lot of those votes. When you look at the Delta, it's about 90,000 between general election. The Delta is Trump at the top of the ticket, which will not be in the midterms. So his numbers will drop. All we have to do is turn out what we turned out in the general election. We don't have to manufacture people. We've now closed the gap to about 30,000 in a midterm. My promise to you, I will take 15% of his midterm voters, that's about 30,000 people, 25,000 people. They will go from him, not sitting home, others will sit home, also helps, but they're going to go from him to me. Why? Because I'm not crazy, I'm not scary, and frankly, I'm a pretty nice guy. And by then, people are going to look for just somebody sane. Real numbers-wise, we're at a dead heat. I am a bit concerned there might be some fudging going on, because I guarantee you right now there's nobody in this country, other than hopefully you folks and the other people we're talking to, that think we have a snowball's chance. So they won't see us coming. When they do, they're going to go big with money, they're going to go big with negative, they're going to go big with a whole bunch of garbage. So we need a pad of about 30,000 votes. I just talked where that's coming from. Those are the advocates in every county here. That's where the extras. Everything else, we already have. We already know we can turn out 129,000 votes. We did it. I'll flip those. I check a lot of blocks, guys. Let's just get real here for a minute. I'm a veteran, small business owner. You know, I check a lot of blocks that make people go, this stuff is nuts. That guy seems okay. That's all we're doing here. We just want to get back to reasonable. That's it. So, that's what I need from you. This is usually where I beg for money. I'm not doing that because we're in a public library. If any of you want my contact information, we have business cards. We brought no other things. I do have a few books. Our first book, Diversity and Inclusion, the Submarine Ray, really written by Deb, but my views of diversity, equity, inclusion in submarines. Yes, diversity, equity, inclusion in submarines was a real thing, and it worked really, really well. It got stolen. I won't go into how the Constitution was the very first DEI document, but it was. If somebody's in a plant and wants to ask me, I can tell you in about 2 minutes. But based on whoever gives me the most softball answer that makes me look smart, you'll probably get a book. Right? If you make me squirm, you'll get a book. So the floor is yours. How are we doing this? Am I just walking around the mic, or I'm pretty loud, so I don't.
Well, if people need a mic, if people want a mic when they ask you a question, just I can bring it to them.
Okay.
But you call on people.
Oh, I call on people?
Well, they're going to probably raise their hands.
Is that nonpartisan? Because I'm good. I'm a good judge of character here. I mean, like, yeah, how about you?
They'll probably raise their hands.
All right, bring it on. What you got? Yes, sir. We'll go there and then we'll go here.
Being a septic, in a place where a lot of sensitive materials and secret things going on. Well, I was inspired to interview you about those things. But what do you feel about what happened on that signal car?
Oh, the question was about using Signal for that classified brief, and then tying in the reporter and actually I believe he was the editor of the Atlantic. Threw that on there. So I'll give you unadulterated here, and you can say this is good preaching. But what happened there? We actually talked about this this morning. I did a Fetterman video about this topic. No, actually, I think I looked okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Here's the first thing. I like to look at the story behind the story. I'll circle back, sir, to the specifics of it. But the bigger flick here, when you listen to Heseth, when you listen to Trump, when you listen to these other folks, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Nothing was done wrong. Nothing was improper. By the way, the Atlantic sucks, and so does that editor. What does that have to do with anything? So, when you have no accountability, you have no leadership. And there's no personal accountability displayed in that, so there's no leadership. Now, specifically, here's what should have happened. I had, can I say it in this forum? Yeah, I just can't say it in social. I had for many, no, I got to think about this because there's rules. I had a TSSCI clearance. If you don't know what that is, it is the highest clearance that you can have anywhere. That's it. Top secret, special compartmental information. All right, I had that for years. I'm only telling you for context. You couldn't do anything. If you were in a skiff, you were in trouble. And a skiff, think of a big lead box with copper wire and everything else. No phones, no nothing, no talking. You did nothing until you were in there. It was sealed. You tested. There was no way to get any communication in or out. Then you talked. On a submarine, 800 feet beneath the ocean, who's going to tell on you? Your briefs were done in a little corner of the radio room with no nobody coming in during that briefing. And then I was a navigator. When you went to the quartermaster, if you're in the Army, it's a storekeeper or something, but in the Navy, it's, what are you laughing? It's true. In the Navy, it is a navigator. After you did that briefing, where we were sometimes, remember, I worked tail end the Cold War here. We did some pretty interesting stuff. Depending on where you were, you literally had a cover around the quartermaster stand. There was a person standing outside the entrance with a book. It's a submarine. We know each other really well. You cannot come in unless you're in that book. That is how sensitive material is handled. Not this joke of you can download that app, folks. There was a man on that call who was negotiating in Russia, attached to a Wi-Fi. That one hasn't even been talked about. He was attached to Wi-Fi in Moscow. For all I know, he's in the Kremlin. I don't know that for sure, but I do know he was in Moscow. They're talking about the editor. How about that guy? It's insane. But don't lose sight of the bigger flick, because I want you to watch this over and over again. It is a complete and total lack of personal accountability. That's the much bigger story. And you'll see it over and over and over and over again. And we're going to win because we're going to point out how these decisions affect the working class and the regular folks. Because the reality is, folks, is here's what's going on. Legislative branch is missing in action. The judicial branch seems to be holding right now, but when he gets to the point of frustration, he's going to ignore it. Because the end game is very simple. We did a podcast on it yesterday. The end game is one man, not one country, not one constitution, not one flag, not under God, under Trump. Do we really want that guy deciding if you get Social Security or not? Do we want that guy deciding, nice neighborhood across here. Let's kick everybody out and I'll put in 3 more golf courses. Screw them, they'll go live someplace else. That's who we're talking about here. And he wants ultimate power. Not acceptable. We got to return to reasonable. What else we got? I'll be much briefer. I'm sorry. Oh, I forgot already. See? This is my ADHD, and you really want me picking people?
I am the wife of someone who has run for office.
Okay.
It is grueling,
Yes.
brutal,
Yes.
and horrible on relationships.
Yes.
It is no place for a person of faith, except it is. I just want to say first, thank you.
No.
And secondly, everyone here I'm sure feels the same. I just hope you'll take care of yourself and Deb.
Balance is important, so you guys are scaring up your friends and getting those first 1,000 people on board. Deb and I are leaving this weekend and we'll be in the Azores for 10 days, so we're already taking your advice.
There's one here,
Okay.
and one back there.
Yeah,
Two
see,
back there.
you need the point so I don't get yelled at for not picking up. Where are we going?
There's one right here.
I get like Bob Barker.
Tim Scott
Yes.
is very pro school vouchers, along with dismantling the Department of Education. How will you address that to constituents in the district?
Well, thank you. This is about dismantling the Department of Education and school vouchers being used basically. Here's the problem, guys. This is another problem that's not a problem that they're causing. Okay, I think, as you know, education is already run. The actual what's in the school, what's the curriculum, it's already run. It's smoke and mirrors that these crazy liberals are doing these crazy. No, that's not federal. The federal is Pell Grants. It's student loans. Okay, it's grants for Title I schools, which is a passion of mine. But to answer your question specifically about vouchers, it's another way for people to avoid the real question here. So the way you stand up to that is you simply say, first and foremost, why not public schools? Why not public schools? And when somebody says, because they're lousy, here's an idea. How do we improve them? Because everything else, I saw it when we lived in Augusta. Augusta had F year after year in their public schools. Why? Because people that had means put their kids in private schools. Or there were so many things set up not to address public schools, to address a way out of public schools, because those are where poor people go. That's not acceptable. So the way you do that is, first and foremost, why not public school? Why voucher instead of public school? What do we need to do for public schools? What does the federal government need to do to support the states and the local in public schools? Don't believe this garbage about, all of this stuff is happening because the Department of Education, it's already, I believe 80% of funding is already state and local. But there is critical funding that doesn't come from anywhere but the federal government. And if you don't have that, then more people will go, look, they're even worse. More vouchers, more problems, less public schools, more issues. That's how you address it.
Okay, 2 questions in the back.
Where are we going? There we
In
go.
the back.
To follow up on that, just the tax dollars. Would go to
Hi, good evening.
how do you get that?
Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Good. You're probably not going to give me a book after this.
I might throw it at you.
You cited yourself as being a Clinton Democrat,
Yeah.
ironically. I'm going to go back a few years to another president that our opponents were probably considered to be woke, left-hard, leftist. His name is Dwight Eisenhower.
Yep.
And when he was president, the top rates of tax for persons and for corporations was in excess of 90%. Those tax cuts that were done under Reagan, primarily, that was what has created the class of Elon Musk, of Bezos, of Zuckerberg. What is your view on going back to a tax regime that says if you earn $1 billion, you don't keep $1 billion under any circumstances?
The question was, tax rates under Eisenhower, I think they were upwards of 80, you said 90%, but they were very, very high. And then Ronald Reagan, the master of trickle-down economics, how'd that work out for us? Cutting. So the question was, how do you address, I believe the question was, how do you address the tax rates for the most wealthy people? Here's how you address them. I'll talk about extending the tax cuts first, right? All those are going to do is ensure extremely wealthy people do extremely well. That's all it's going to do. Let me tell you some real math here. Republicans have taken over the party of the balanced budget. What a joke. Really? The last time we had a budget balance was 1998 under President Clinton. We actually had a surplus up to 2001. And it's been Democrat and Republican, it's been free spending. A cornerstone of that is taxes. And what happens when it sounds reasonable, right, because of the percentages, what's really going on is you're overly taxing middle class. Say it? And right, those are the lower class, as compared to the higher. The reason that they want the balanced budget, folks, the reason they want a $4.5 trillion raise in the cap is because of this garbage that they're going to cut people's jobs and shut down the USAIDs of the world and somehow make up for those tax cuts. Will be $4.7 trillion that'll add to the deficit. And all it's going to benefit is extremely wealthy people. So to answer your question, yes, we get back to a tax structure. 83% of this country's income is payroll tax and income tax. 83%. When you give the top 10%, top 1% massive tax breaks, what do you think happens? We all run a house and run a budget. When your income drops and your expenses are steady, you run up a deficit. You don't need a Wharton MBA for this stuff. So the answer is you hold the line. We don't need more taxes on those in need. We don't need more taxes on the working class, but we certainly need a better tax rate. Corporations, let me tell you about a living wage. $15 isn't high enough, but what it is now is embarrassing. I'm a small business owner. Anybody who says you can't run that, you can never run a business, you should be ashamed if you're not paying people at least $15 an hour. You're not going to go out of business. And that's another form of what you're of what you're talking about, sir. All that stuff is just smoke and mirrors. People need a living wage. When you lift people up, guess what? They feel a little better. They spend a little bit more. They feel like they're part of the community. What's the downside to that? So yes, higher tax rates for the wealthiest people, and the law has changed. It's 35 to 21%. 21% is actually not part of the CR. It's hardwired for corporate. But that needs to be reversed as well. They were extremely high under Eisenhower. And guess what? We were flourishing. It's all just, well, I can't say that word either. Man, I wish Deb wasn't here. I could curse a lot more. So, thank you. I hope I addressed. Where are we going?
Okay, we have time for one more question. Catherine is gonna take care of who be with us.
This guy,
Right there. Right next to you.
him. This guy,
How we're getting this people.
this guy, him. Both of them.
Okay, so I just have a real quick question about integrity. I believe that you only have one chance for integrity. Once you sell out, you don't get it back. I've seen multiple people in Congress sell their integrity, especially on the Democratic side, and it has been absolutely heartbreaking, especially John Fetterman and people like that. Even whenever Al Gore or Al Green was standing up at the State of the Union address, how do you plan to move with the political climate of today and make sure that we have an equal balance of disorder, but also making sure that we move in the right direction where we have DEI programs, young people could afford a house and stand up for things like the Palestinian conflict and not worry about getting deported, basically.
Thank you for that. And what that is there's a difference between running and governing. Okay? When you govern, everything you said, Palestinian rights, the other things that you mentioned, all of those things, you can champion. You can be a warrior advocate for when you're in Congress. You can basically, I'm a retired Command Master Chief. Most of you don't know what that means, but trust me, it means I don't back down. You don't get there by going, gee, I don't know, what do you think? So, you be a warrior advocate. Now, here's the part that's different. In District 7, if you run on a platform of what you just said, you will not win. That doesn't mean I'm ashamed of my positions. Please go to my website. Please go to Vincent for Congress, the number 4, and look at my policy page. I'm not ashamed of what I support, but you don't win running on that. So the answer to your question is you have integrity for what you believe in, but you're smart enough. You can lose with doing the right thing, or you can win and do the right thing. So we're going to win, that's what you're going to hear from me. Middle class, working class, economic conditions, those needs to be over and over and over again. But in this forum, if you ask me where I stand on LGBTQ, absolutely 100%. What people do with themselves, who cares? You ask me about a woman's rights, a woman has a right to choose, not my business. And I'll say that unabashedly. All right, one more than we go. I know you only said 1 minute.
I swear, he's been waiting forever, I guess.
You were talking.
Oh, you got like a list, man.
You were talking about taxes, and I appreciate where you're going with the tax and everything. But we've got another problem with endowments for higher education. For example, Harvard has got an endowment of $51 billion,
Really?
and we give them $550 million. Why? We give the top 10 Ivy League schools. We give them over $5 billion. They don't need it. Plus, we only tax them at 1.69% rate.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, I'll put it right here if you need it.
I'm not doubting you.
So what is your position?
Okay, here's my position. My position, just like, here's a crazy thing. I'm a very consistent guy, probably because I'm a bit simple-minded. If you're supporting K through 12 education, then why aren't you supporting community colleges? Why aren't you supporting state colleges? Right? Now, do I have a problem with Yale and Harvard? No, I don't have a problem with that. If you get in, you do your thing, that's fine. But to your point, why on earth are we subsidizing those when we have community colleges right here struggling to live? That doesn't make sense. Those could be educating in great stuff, AI, technical trades. It's crazy. So the answer to your question is no. I know the answer. The answer is how many people in Congress went to those schools, right? What's better than me donating $2 billion out of my pocket, taking it out of yours? So that's why it's there. But when you bring light on that, see folks, when you talk the truth about some of these issues, right, and you just put light on it, a lot of people start getting really embarrassed and really ashamed. And I'm a loud dude. And what you see is what you get. So, oh no, I'm not making mistakes here. Barbie said one, and I already went one over. Let's see who owned the place.
This is about that money, about why are we giving them that money?
Okay.
You got to make sure that that money is not an NIH grant that's going to study cancer. So you have to know what that money is. Because we all like upside or all kinds of stuff they put to me. And we have to figure out what that money was, what grant, what it was supporting.
Thank you for the education. I didn't think that would prove that well, so thank you. See, I learned stuff here. I'm not going to sit there and try to explain how that's what I really meant. It's not. So thank you for educating me.
Thank you so much, John. I hope you won't leave. But we're going to do some Indigo Indivisible business now, if you don't mind.
That'll be exciting.
Thank you, folks. I appreciate it.
We're so glad John agreed to come. That was wonderful. I have some introductions I want to make that are important. And the first introductions I want to make are our two city council candidates in Georgetown. And they are Sharon Milton, if you'll stand up, and Hobson Henry Milton. And even if you don't live in Georgetown, you can support them because we need local representation. So please support them even if you don't live in the city of Georgetown. Okay, we've got the Pawleys Island Precinct 1 Chairman, Mike Thompson. Would he stand up, please? There he is. Thank you.
Wants to get involved in the Democratic Party, Precinct 1, please see me. I want to send out information to get lists of everybody who wants to be involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. We have there's so much fun. The Frogmore Stew podcast host here, and I would like her to stand up. She does a really great, her name is Grace County, and the Frogmore Stew podcast is really well done and good, and if you can listen to it, please do. And she came to us from, where did you come to us from?
Charleston.
Charleston, thank you.
But we cover the whole state. We do all state politics.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I've been listening. Thank you. Okay. Okay, now we have some local things going on. I need Rita Smith to stand up to talk about the April 5th event. You can come up here. Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Go to the front.
Okay, go to the front.
Oh dear, this is where my husband says, oh God, she's got a microphone. To the gentleman who's the Pawleys Island 1 Precinct, Liz Brockman, you want to stand up? Liz is with Georgetown County Democratic Party. Folks with the Horry County Democratic Party, correct? Yes. So if you want to get involved locally, contact your local Democratic Party. So mark your calendars for April 5th. That is a nationwide hands-off rally that is being organized by a group called Mobilize US, mobilize.us. If you're not on their mailing list, you need to be on it. So it is a hands-off rally that is being held nationwide. There's a rally in DC, there's rallies in state houses all over the country. There's a rally, I think, in Charleston, and there's one here in Pawleys Island, not sure about Myrtle Beach. But it's hands-off Social Security, hands-off Medicare, hands-off LGBTQ rights, hands-off our bodies. Whatever is important to you, it's hands-off. It's hands-off federal workers. So the rally is going to be held in Pawleys Island. We are on April 5th. Hold on a second. Okay, 10:30. We're going to be meeting on the North Causeway. It's going to be walking down the bike path from the North Causeway down to the South Causeway. So meeting on the North Causeway around, I guess, Frank's Dollar General there at about 10:30. Plenty of parking. Pawleys Island Community Church, Dollar General, all that good stuff. Make signs, hands off, whatever. Marching down the highway on the bike path and down towards the food line. So it's from 10:30 to 1:30. Now, I don't know if anybody here is on a Facebook page called Pawleys Island Happenings.
Yes.
Okay, this got posted on there. And I almost wish it hadn't, but there's a lot of negative comments. So I believe that the organizer of this, Kathy McGrogan, who's not here, has requested police presence because it was, a lot of negative comments. But hey, come on, they want us to be scared. We're not scared. Okay, we're not scared. My friend Mark Byer, if you know Mark is with Pawleys Island PFLAG. He wanted me to mention that they mentioned their organization, Pawleys Island PFLAG. They meet the third Monday of every month over at the Bennell Foundation, I believe, Bennell Foundation. So that's Pawleys Island PFLAG. And so April 5th, hands off march, Pawleys Island. Put it on your calendar. Thank you.
Okay, we've also got another thing happening on April 5th, and with Courtney, stand up, Courtney. Here she is. I don't know how to say her last name.
It's Derrigan. Can you hear me okay? Great. So I'm with a group called 5051. I actually talked about it last time I was here. I was brand new to that, just like I am with Indivisible. If you decide that you'd like to go somewhere besides Pawleys Island, we also have a protest planned for the 5th of April. It's from 11 a.m. to 1, and it's in Chapin Park, and that's near the Chapin Library in Myrtle Beach, so it's around, I think, the 14th Avenue North. I strongly encourage you to take a look at Facebook page. We also do Blue Sky and Reddit and pretty much almost every social media platform you can think of. But really, it's a great thing. It's grassroots. We're not like a 501c or anything like that. So it's really about a for the people kind of organization. And we are definitely looking for people to help us. And I'm very thankful for Indivisible here and hoping that we can do some work together in the future. So thank you. And
Now we have someone else from 5051, Jason Stroud. Would you speak to us, please?
So I'm taking off my political hat now, and I'm in my nonpartisan hat, just for the record. So who likes to hear from their elected officials? Raise your hands. How many of you have heard from your elected officials that are of a different parties? Nobody? Well, I have an opportunity for you. We have already planned a town hall for April 14th at Market Common at 7 p.m. And this will be on social media, and Indivisible is going to help us get the word out. And we already have lots of signatures on petitions, and I have the petitions here if you would like to sign. We've already hand-delivered invitations to Russell Fry's office, offices, to remind you that the schedule is absolutely clear for the town hall, and there's no reason that you should not come to our town hall. So, I'm going to deliver these signatures to him personally and reinforce that we've already given you an invitation. Here's another copy. And here's what your constituents are saying about wanting to hear you. You will do one online, and he'll do the call and all of that, but as you know, those are very selective questions, and very selective people asking the questions. This is absolutely open. We encourage anybody to record it, to deliver this in any way that you want. We are asking media to be there. We are going to have a moderator, and we're going to have a moderator to make sure that the questions are actually questions. We don't want someone standing up there and just praising for 20 minutes. We are going to have guidelines for what's going to happen at the town hall, and that is written here on the petition. So if you would like to sign the petition, I will have it available over here. I have 2 of them, and there's pages, but judging from how many people are here, I think I'm going to run out, so we might have to use the margins a little, but it still counts. So thank you all, and I hope to see you on April 14th. Yes?
Are you going to have an empty chair on the stage?
There is a chair, and it will have a sign with his name on it, so he knows where to sit, because we want to direct him in exactly the right spot.
Thank you. We'll be there for that. Okay, well, that's the end of my announcement. So, Lynn,
Yes.
do you want to come up and we do want to hear from you if you have something that you want to, you yourself have to announce or something that you want us to work on. We will love to hear it.
I would encourage all of you to continue to come to these meetings. Hopefully you have seen that there are a number of us who have common concerns, and we do want a choice in the people who represent us. We do want to take action. So let me say thank you to the screening committee over here for Indigo Indivisible for putting together a series of slides that show you individual actions that you can take. Individual actions, anytime you feel like it, you can go to a list and pick one. In addition, group action is incredibly important. The number of people that you see here tonight sends a message. This is our body language sending a message, and we want to make sure that our current representatives hear it loud and clear. So please continue attending, working as a group, working to collaborate to affect change. So let me just mention one other thing that is in the works, and this will be later in May. Not only have we been discussing a potential town hall with Russell Fry, we've also been considering inviting Lindsey Graham
to answer our invitation.
The invitations have gone out. They have until April 1st to respond, and whether or not we get a response, that'll tell us whether an actual person will be sitting in the chair or a milk carton. Missed it. So, let me just encourage you to keep doing what you're doing and bring your friends and neighbors and your family members. 10 people, ask 10 people, and so forth. Thank you.
Lisa has an update on the April 5th event at Polly's Island.
Sorry about that. I'd gotten an email from Kathy, so I just wanted to share that. It says they will not be marching on April the 5th. They're going to be standing or sitting along the bike path anywhere between the North Causeway and the South Causeway. So basically, and the same kind of thing that Rita was talking about, any of the Food Line, the church, there's several churches that just park there, and I'm sure that's probably a safety issue. And,
It's a honk and wave thing.
Yeah, a honk and wave thing. So I just wanted to let you know, in case you showed up at the North Causeway and were wondering where everybody was, everybody's just gonna kind of be spread out. So, okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. We have a few more minutes. Is there anybody that wants, go ahead.
Yes, hello, I'm Karen from the League of Women Voters. I just wanted to mention that the Hands Off demonstration is national and state and has been endorsed by the League of Women Voters, so you know.
All right, well, does anybody else have any actions they would like to announce or that they would like us to get involved in or anything? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, so it's going, oh, absolutely, and I have a flyer, so if you see the information, I'll get that information off to you. Yeah, we also have a copy of the letter, if you want to say that.
I know a lot of really
April 14th, and second round is pretty big. Yes, I mean, the exact address. It is. So the address is going to be, well, the location is the General Robert Reed Remsen at 800 Nebraska Lane in Myrtle Beach. Time 7 p.m.
Okay. Go ahead, yeah.
Is there anyone here from Planned Parenthood? I know they have a trip planned to DC on April the 1st, which is when the Supreme Court is going to hear the piece about Planned Parenthood and Medicaid. Is anybody here from there? If you're interested in that, I know they're picking people up in Charleston and in Columbia, and it's going to be a busload. So if you're interested, you can go on the Planned Parenthood website and you'll be able to get more information on that. It's April the 1st, and I think they're leaving on the 1st and spending the night up there and coming back.
Thank you. It's good to know about. Okay, well, oh, go ahead, sure.
Thank you very much. We like Johnny come lately because we just found out about this meeting today. So is there any way that we have color to get information about the Democratic Party when we are having a meeting so we can be out there?
If you give us your email address, we'll send you all kinds of stuff, I think. Yeah. Okay. I think we're going to go ahead and end. It's a few minutes early, but it looks like, oh, I'm sorry, Henry.
What everybody I know is in a fog of despair. So many of my friends never want to watch the news anymore. They just want to give up. They want to leave the country. They want to move away. And I keep telling them, 90% of us can't afford to move away. So what we need a cliff notes of resistance. We need you to put out on individual website how we can protest, how we can fight, where we can donate money, where we can donate, what law firms we can donate money from, what elections we need. We need clear actions, clear actionable actions, and we need like the cliff notes in college. We need small things. People want to fight, and then they want to go home and go out their lives and quit worrying about this 90% of their lives. We can worry from sundown and just moan and bemoan, but unless we find actual actions, and all the people that I talk to all want to fight like crazy, but it's overwhelming them emotionally. We've got to come in. We've got to have what this organization.
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give everybody.
And I wish I could help.
I don't know if you got our email.
Oh,
Did you get our email?
Yes, I did.
Okay, because that had some actions you could take as an individual. But we'll send out some more. We'll send it out again. We'll send out something simple. We made a list. Oh, okay, yeah. We'll be positive, okay.
I just want to say to the gentleman in the back, and for everybody can know, every third Monday of each month is the Democratic Party meeting. So, like she said, if you get if everybody can give us their email, phone number, whatever, we will make sure that y'all know, because I personally send things out, so if you don't get it, I don't know why, because I do send things out, so, but I know because she changed it from the second to the third Monday, so every third Monday, and now what she's doing, she's trying to go to every community, for every community can be involved. So I have to ask her where the next one's gonna be, because I'm thinking it may be Waccamaw, but I'm not sure, so I'll ask Marilyn and see where's the next one going to be, but if so, it probably will be at the Gregory Center in Waccamaw. But it's the third Monday every month. That's the Democrats, so we would love for y'all to come in and help us too. And but we need to try to get our Democrats in these chairs, because I'm tired of these Republicans now. At 6 o'clock.
I just want to make another point. We talked about in the last meeting, the possibility of if we have some funds. I would love to see us get some kind of cards, like maybe with Spanish on one side, so that we can give some, like I'm giving to my people that are working around, so that we can get more diversity of people of color. The cards would be a great idea to be able to hand to somebody that you put in contact with. You don't have to say anything, just give them the card and give them the information. So if they have money, hopefully we'll have it for you next month.
That sounds good. Okay, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to ask where the meetings, the Democrat meetings.
Oh, okay, they change every month because they try to hit the county areas. So sometimes it's at Andrews, but she said this month, in April, it'll be in the Waccamaw Civic Center.
I think that's good for the
Rec Center. Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for coming, and especially.
If you get Bobby your email or phone number, and
Yeah, I can give you,
I don't know,